Good afternoon and many thanks for making time to be with us. This is KTN Newsdesk on the 18th day of March 2013. My name is Bonnie Tunya and this is news brought to you as it happens. Welcome to the program. We kick off things in Mombasa, and Mombasa is on high alert following Monday night's incident where police intercepted a vehicle carrying 2 improvised explosive devices at Changamwe. A major security operation has been launched with the military securing key areas in the county. Here is KTN's Betty Kyalo with that report.
Police in Mombasa on Monday night thwarted what could have been a major terrorist attack after they intercepted and detained a vehicle found with explosives in Changamwe. According to police, the explosives are said to have been connected to a mobile phone and were powered by car battery.
Acting on a tip of our security officers, intelligence officers, sharing information with the officers from Nairobi, some security information was intercepted. Some fellows in some vehicle were discussing, communicating with Somalia some 2-3 days ago. And then the government security agents became very, very curious about that.
Following the incident, administration, police officers and the military today continued with investigations, with bomb experts being called in to look into the devices that police say would have caused mass destruction. Mombasa Police Headquarters, where the vehicle with explosives is being held, has been sealed off by heavily armed police and military officers.
It is in the police custody, properly secured, and in it are 2 powerful explosives, motor vehicle explosives, capable of mass destruction.
In an operation that saw the arrest of 2 suspected terrorists, Mombasa County Commander Robert Kitur said 2 suspects, a Kenyan and 1 of Somali origin, were arrested. 2 other men of Somali origin, whom they believe were on a mission, are also in police custody. Police have been tracking the suspects, who are believed to have crossed into Kenya from Somalia last month. Betty Kyalo, KTN Newsdesk.
A suspected poacher was gunned down in Lake Nakuru National Park while 2 of his accomplices managed to escape following an encounter with rangers from the Kenya Wildlife Service. The accomplices escaped on foot deep inside the park during the 1 a.m. incident. According to rangers, the suspects spotted rhinos under the tree and immediately opened fire, killing 1. Now, KWS Assistant Director Jonathan Kirui said at least 4 rhinos have been shot and killed by poachers inside the park this year. Several items were confiscated by rangers, including poisoned arrows, spears and food items, and a manhunt for the suspect has been launched.
High caliber firearms, but now they have changed time and also the weapon, the use of now the poisoned arrows, because this one, it has been used here before, but in the several recent incidences, they have been using heavy caliber firearms.
To the story we promised earlier on regarding our doctors and why they're resigning, the government will embark on an ambitious plan to hire 20,000 doctors and 42,000 nurses in the next 4 years in a bid to eliminate the current shortage. Health Cabinet Secretary James Macharia says his ministry will, beginning June this year, start an annual recruitment drive of 9,000 nurses with special focus on midwives. At the same time, Macharia challenged county governors to address the challenges facing doctors in their respective counties. This is after it was reported that at least 120,000 doctors have resigned around the country. He was speaking at Naivasha District Hospital when the USAID donated medical equipment worth 129 million.
Governors, and we have all agreed, and now we are in the process of putting the tenders together, of having equipment worth 34 billion Kenya shillings placed in our public hospitals.
The European Union has expressed its commitment to strengthening trade ties with Kenya and Africa at large. Now, the announcement came as the EU and African Union prepare for the 4th EU-AU summit to be held in Brussels next month. The EU head of delegation to Kenya challenged Kenya and other EAC members to question what they really stand for to gain from partnering with the East.
That at the end of the day, it is trade and not aid that will help people out of poverty. The eastern countries are important development partners to Kenya. My only comment on that is just ask yourself the question whether the East is also going to be where you're going to be exporting more to in the future. I hope that will be the case.
Well, next is a good story for farmers, as researchers at the International Care for Insect Physiology and Ecology have developed a new strain of Napier grass that is resistant to a stunting disease that poses a major threat to smallholders in the dairy industry. The McKnight Foundation founded and developed two strains of the resistant grass named Ouma 11 and South Africa, with the aim of cutting the dairy losses that farmers are experiencing in Western Kenya over the last 5 years. Isipe is now embarking on the process of spreading the Napier variety through farmer groups with aim of introducing the new strains across the Kenyan highlands to Uganda and Ethiopia, where Napier stunting disease has also ravaged farmers.
This is resistant to the disease, but not to the insect. The insect can still stay and survive and multiply on it, but it is not able to pick up and transmit the disease to these plants. So these are highly resistant to the disease.
And my intention is that I will have to replace all the varieties which are being affected by the disease, so that I plant the new varieties which have been proved to be tolerant or disease resistant.
We felt like that would be a nice way to help farmers, touch the lives of farmers. And we've supported them for, I think it was 2 years.
Maseno University lecturers and administrative staff who are on strike have restated their commitment to the National University strike. The strike has paralyzed learning in all public universities as employees push for the release of a 3.9 billion cash tranche that the government released to the universities as part of a collective bargaining agreement last year.
No amount of barricade, no amount of intimidation will stop us from achieving what we want to achieve. This strike is worldwide. This strike is nationwide. And I want to tell you, we have been supported by all quarters of the society, because our cause is a just cause. It has been proven right. So we will remain on strike until such a time that the management will heed to our demands.
Right. Earlier today, President Uhuru Kenyatta has directed the Attorney General, the Department of Justice, and the National Treasury and Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to develop a national policy to fight graft. This coming after a week of different reports concerning graft and also related to government. And the EACC has launched a strategic plan. Sam Ogina has been covering that and brings us the latest. Sam, what exactly is this plan all about?
Well, thank you. The war on graft has actually been renewed, adding impetus on what has been happening, and the president being categorical that the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, Treasury, Department of Justice, and the Office of the Attorney General will develop an anti-corruption policy, because the country lacks an anti-corruption policy, a policy to fight graft. And he says that this policy must be in place by the end of this year. Earlier on, the AG had alluded that, actually admitting that the country doesn't have an anti-corruption policy, and that his office was willing and be able to have the anti-corruption policy and other legal frameworks to fight corruption by the end of 2015. But the president has reduced the time frame from the end of 2015 to the end of this year. Equally, the Mumo Matemu, the chair of the Anti-Corruption Commission, saying that the war on graft is capable of being won and can be won. Well, it's nothing new from what we've heard from other anti-corruption Caesars, but he says that with Kenyans incorporated in the war to fight corruption, then this thing can be won once and for all. The president saying that the president actually saying that corruption must go. Yeah, if I got his words verbatim, saying that corruption must go. Matemu actually says that this is the fourth liberation that Kenya is embarking to fight, the fourth liberation to liberate the country from the yokes of corruption, from yokes of graft, saying that Kenya has fought many wars and it has won those wars, citing the 1963 when Kenya became independent, also the fight for political pluralism, that is multi-party democracy, and the promulgation of the new constitution, saying that these are three wars that Kenya has fought and it has won, so it is capable of equally winning another war, that is the war on corruption.
Great. Sam Ogina, talking about the war on corruption, the rhetoric has been about fighting corruption at the grassroots level. Do we know how this strategy will aims at doing this?
Well, the ethics and anti-corruption actually is alluded in its strategic plan, says that they need empowerment. The office requires empowerment, capacity building, and also just trying to come up with ways, that is technologically savvy ways of fighting corruptions in the grassroots levels, trying to devolve, because they say that corruption has equally been devolved to the counties, and say that they need capacity to be enhanced, they need their offices to be beefed up, they need that is additional funds for their offices and officers, because they also say that they need to engage the SRC, because most of their able commissioners have been searching for greener pastures elsewhere, and this has incapacitated in some way the war on graft. Well, Bonnie, as I was saying earlier, is Deputy President William Ruto equally alluded that it is a lack of plan that you become lazy, you become fat, and you become stupid. So he says that having the strategic plan 2013 to 2018 launched, then it is a prudent measure to curb graft, saying that corruption actually leads to sabotage and torpedoing of the Jubilee Manifesto and development plans in the country. Bonnie?
Earlier on, regarding that particular strategy, that would be a good time to have it.
Pardon?
I'm saying, Sam, I understand also there is a report regarding this, you had prepared for us regarding this particular launch, and this would be a good time to have it.
Well, I haven't understood your question. I haven't got you loud and clear, but if you're talking about being the correct time of launching this report or this strategy, then it is the right time, because we've just seen the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission actually having arraigning some influential people in court. Kimunya was yesterday in court charged over malpractice, where he was a director of a company, and at the same time he was the lands minister, and he allocated land to the company of which he was a director. Now this putting in place a conflict of interest. We have also seen the director of public prosecutions, that is Keriako Tobiko, actually also pushing for the prosecution of the CBK governor, Professor Njuguna Ndung'u. Bonnie?
Coming to us live from the city center, where that particular strategic plan was launched by the EACC on how to fight graft going forward. It is a 5-year plan, with the focus being fighting graft in the grassroots level. But let's take you right now into that particular meeting, and this is how things were.
We have received and analyzed many reports and intelligence, and as a result, we have been able to take a number of cases of what can be called grant corruption, and the hearings are going on. We have detected and disrupted potentially corrupt procurement processes, and we have been able to save about 1 billion through these interruptions. We have traced corruptly acquired assets, and on the civil side, we are taking action to recover these assets, and the value is estimated as 5.5 billion.
and corruption still remains a major challenge, requiring to be confronted without any fear. My government in this regard is ready to introduce further reforms to strengthen our governance and to fight corruption and economic crime. We remain determined to protect public resources and to use them prudently for the purpose for which they were intended.
Of course, that particular launch of that plan comes just the week that the Procurement Oversight Authority body unearthed another potentially fraudulent, corrupt dealing regarding the laptop project. We'll be giving you more details, but remember, you can also read all these stories on our website. That is www.standardmedia.co.ke. Time to take a short break. We'll be back with more news. Welcome back. You're on the news desk. Let's talk business now. And chief executive officers from 7 major mobile operator groups in Africa are pushing to make infrastructure sharing a requirement, making it easier for mobile broadband and internet access. But can this take place and can it be replicated in this country? Here is KTN's Michael Karanja with all the answers.
Kenya has witnessed a mobile and internet boom over the last decade and a half. The country now boasts one of the most robust mobile and IT networks on the continent. The country, however, lacks a national policy on infrastructure sharing that has seen most operators go it alone or enter into exclusive partnerships that are sometimes discarded midstream. Led by Bharti Airtel, 7 mobile operators including Etisalat, MTN, Zain, Vodafone, Orange and the Ooredoo Group, the operators plan to cooperate on the network infrastructure sharing initiatives that recognize the profound impact of mobile broadband and internet services on the citizens of both regions. The GSMA maintains that telecom regulatory frameworks should encourage flexible commercial sharing agreements and facilitate access to government-owned assets at preferential rates to help speed up the rollout of networks and support the business case to extend mobile networks into rural areas. Things in Kenya, however, tend to work in a different direction, with most players going it alone. Players put up their own base station for mobile coverage and also lay their own fiber optic infrastructure to capture the lucrative data market. In 2012, Safaricom and Airtel entered into a rare joint venture in the laying of a multi-million shilling fiber network to cut their reliance on third parties for wholesale internet and share the cost of building the inland network. With the local mobile market poised for consolidation, it will be interesting to see whether the operators will be more interested in sharing their own infrastructure. Michael Karanja, KTN.
Indeed, it will be interesting to see if indeed Kenyan operators will pick up that particular initiative coming from the other players in the region. But away from telcos and that kind of matter, let's talk about the sun now. And we're looking at the sun as an alternative source of lighting. I'm talking about solar power. And joining me today is a gentleman who's trying to make it easier and cleaner for you to use the sun and moving you away from use of kerosene for lighting as part of the plan to have eradicated Africa from that kind of use by the year 2020. I'm talking about Steve Andrews from Sanimani. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Steve, the idea for clean, affordable energy targeted at the lower end of the economy, is it viable in Africa? Is it even possible?
It's hugely possible.
Right.
It's coming fast.
Right.
My company sold over 200,000 lights in just this financial year. So.
Right.
It's coming very fast, and it's going to change this continent in ways that you could barely imagine.
Right. Talking about changing the continent, why did you focus on light? I mean, we have other needs for energy. We're talking about fuel already. It's too expensive in many African countries. Why would you focus on lighting?
You know, there's something really magical about bringing a solar light into somebody's home.
Right.
That it's the beginning of an energy ladder, which could lead to a whole host of other requirements and services.
Right.
So, you know, the